Hey everybody, welcome to Woodworking Wisdom.
This week we're going to do a one plank challenge. So we've all been given a plank each and wait and see what we're going to make with it. Okay, so this one plank challenge, what can we do? No, it's been given a plank each. There it is. What can we get out of it? We'll have something a little bit useful, something maybe a bit different. I haven't got a clue what the other two are doing though. So we could all end up with the same product. That'd be a bit daunting, wouldn't it? Okay, so got a few ideas. What about doing something like a bath rack? Something quite simple. Don't want this to be too complicated. I've looked at these and had a bit of a look online, could make it really complicated. You can extend it and all sorts, but I don't want to get too overboard in it, right? I want this to be quite a basic thing, so most of you, if you wanted to have a go, you've got the equipment probably to do it. So I had a little bit of a sketch session and I had a cutout session earlier just to play around with shape on the bath, if that makes relevant for the edge. And I've also got the width of the bath is. Might need to look at that if you're going to do one. They seem to vary a bit. So I've worked out I can have 660 long, the width across the bath. Then from there, what can we have? We could have a tray that drops down. I think we're going to, the easiest way we can do, almost use the board it is. The bit of tulip wood we've got is quite nice. We can use that as it is and exploit that grain. That's one good thing. Then we're going to recess a few things in it for maybe some candles, have ways of having a support thing for a book. Maybe a wine glass holder. I don't drink wine in the bath, but there you go. Maybe we have a stubby holder. I don't know, the boys will complain. Okay, so we'll have a look. So first thing we really got to do is finish preparing our wood. We want to get it down to a thickness. This is about, I think, 25mm, a bit roughly thickness. Got a few things we want to get rid of. I've got a couple of shakes this end. So we're already looking at what we've got feature wise. I'm looking at grain direction up here, quite short grain, straighter grain will be better down here. So I'm trying to look at those features that the plank's already got, exploit those. So I'm going to break this down, cut our bit off. I know how wide I roughly want to be, so we're going to go next door. Can use the chop saw, the planer, get those jobs done. Okay, so we've got a plank. This is a thick 25mm at the moment. I want to come down to about 20, so we need to thickness it. They've already been skimmed through the thickness of it, like I say, just a little bit thick. So first thing we really want to do is set the machine up. Next thing on this, I never know who's been in here. So we've got no idea on the bed situation on this, so if they put something through like a pine or something, it's going to be a bit sticky. I want the wood to float through. So therefore, for a start, going to wax the bed. I don't want it sticking, I want to get a nice clean finish on it. So just that little bit of prep. That'll help it glide nicely. Okay, so we've got it nicely thickness, nice and clean. I mean, that's lovely, isn't it? Okay, so we can have a look in a minute. I've got a few things I can see up here. You've got a crack that comes in the end. Next stage, we need to put a nice clean edge on it. So I've got something to work off that. If you like a straight edge, my measurement point will be off of that. So first thing I want to check is the fence square on the planer. Okay, simple, stupid little thing to do, but we all forget. And then we get through the job and then go, it's not square. So all the bits of wood your machine won't be square. So okay, so simple check. So in here we've obviously got the plank, we've got a square edge. Already said about got this crack that comes in, it actually comes right down to here. So this is the end of the board, it's got the green paint on, so it gives me a bit of a warning with that colour band that I know there's going to be some splits in here. want to stay away from that, from the main part of the board as far as I can with that crack. I'll flip this over. Got this very wild grain here. Yeah, it looks quite pretty, but actually quite short grain section coming across. Make it weaker. So I've got to decide where I want that to be. If I was doing something with narrow band or narrow strip, that's going to be quite weak and tend to break. So I'm trying to stay away from those two things, thinking about what I want area-wise. So let's have a quick look and see what we get. I need 660 to go across the berth. That brings me down to here. That's quite straight grain. To go the other way, we could use the wild bit on the end. It's quite a wide bit of board. We want 150. More decorative there. Okay, let's go that way round. So balancing those ideas around. So first thing here, we just do straight cross cut. Just clean the end up, get it square. Cut our end off. I want a 660 mark. Just to the guide. So at this stage, just going to cross cut this. So the main body bit to go across the berth. That's it. Okay, so we've got obviously a few things to do on here. We're going to do an upstand, some light holders, glass cut out, then some boards to go in underneath to position it, stop it falling off. So change machines. Now we could use a number of things for this. You could have table saw, you could use that, probably give you a better finish. That's it, trying to keep it quite simple. Most of you might have small bandsaw, handsaw, jigsaw. So I'm going to rip it down on the bandsaw. I only want 150mm wide. This is 210. So I'm going to rip a bit off. We can use the bit we're going to rip off later. But I want to make it just that little bit narrower. So we need to set this up. 150. So I brought myself down in line with so I can see it. That's there. Tighten it up. Done. Bit high. Our guides. So let's bring them down. Ideally, we'll have a quick look. So they fit under the guides. Less than a fingertip will be good. Also means it's more accurate and more supported. With a saw cut, I'm really going to lose that. drill the board now, which is going to be the backstop board for the book, your iPad, whatever. Now we haven't cut the angle at this stage. Now if we drill the hole, my aim is to cut the bit off and use that as a drilling guide to drill that main board as well. So we can use the scrap bit as a drill guide. So I'm set up on the pillar drill, want everything nice and straight. A G-clamp it in. I've got my centre line running down through. I've done that with a marking gauge. I've got a cross line telling me where I want to be on each stage. Okay, one hole either end. The extra G-clamp here in the block is the wood starting to cup a little bit. It's starting to bow, it's drying out. So this also helps me maintain, I can keep it square to the table, so using that bottom block. It's just ways of tweaking things to get better results is really the aim here. Then we've got lip and spur drill. We can obviously drill a hole. We're going to go down as far as we can go with this. So let's get going. Have we got the one? I'm going to reset and do the other side. Just come back over to the plane, and really the aspect we can use the fence on here is a bit of a help. Extra pair of hands if you like. So we've got our baseboard, we've got our upstand. This we're going to reduce the height of. We know it's too high, we want some way of our book, iPad, whatever, going to support it. So we've got to be able to lean it back a little bit. How much angle do we want? I can wiggle this about. But to there, might be a bit much. Bring it back. That doesn't look bad. So just playing around like that could give you an idea of how much angle we've got. I want to transfer that angle now to something that I can use. So I've got sliding bevel. Turn it around. It down. Let's see what we get. I can lock that off. Right, so now we've got our angle. So I'll give you more of an idea what that looks like. From there, okay, that sort of angle. Right. I do with this shelf, it's going to push on and off, so if we want to take it off, we can lift it off, make it easier to store, locate it on 2 dowel pins. We want to be able to cut our angle, so we're going to transfer this now to the mitre saw. Check I've got the angle that we kind of set up the other way. That looks good. Alright, so that major thing, isolate the lathe on this bit. Back on the workbench now, so we've got our main board. We need to find the centre. So we have 660, half a 660, 330. I'll do that there. Got pencil line just down through. This is my top face. I've got that line on there. Right. We also need to find the middle of this, from memory 200. there. Which way should we come off? Let's do down to there for a second. I can line those up so we can actually clamp things together. Let's just raise this up, a couple of pine blocks, and underneath. I want to line up these two lines. The bit we cut off, it's also got to sit in a minute, so I can use that as a measurement position, but I can line up the two pencil lines, side to. I can double check it with a square. Be good. Let's come off our back face because that's what I'm measuring off of. Check I haven't crept too far forward. Not too bad there. I'm going to clamp this in place. Alright. So hopefully, let's just swing it round. So we've got a block in there. Set in. This is looking a bit weird probably for some of you now. You're kind of going, what is he doing now? Just checking how things look. They look equal. If anything, tiny bit. Checking my gap. Too much. Look. That's good. Double check my pencil line. That's central. Just going to swing it round so it faces me a bit more. Time to play and see what clamps might work. That's not bad. Two of those. So now I've lined up the end. Another one in there. Got to get just the right place. That's holding everything nice and still. Next thing I've done, got the drill. Same one we've used. I've put a masking tape depth, so I've looked at how deep I need to go through to make sure I'm not coming through the bottom board. To there. Let's get it in the drill. See what we're on, see what we've got. Gently down through. One. So second one. Right to the side. Down to our pipe. Take them off. That'll give us our two holes, things to come together. Good. Right, okay. Put that out of the way for a minute. Let's have those down there.
So that's our basic frame put together. We've got our little cross struts and our end pieces here. A little bit of tidying up to do. Fairly sturdy. We need to do a bit of sanding, so we're going to take this bandsaw marks off, any kind of little pencil marking out areas that you have. Yeah, and then we're going to glue this up. Or we could do a bit of pyro, you could paint this, oil it or stain it. So yeah, make it your own, make it fit into your little space, and yeah, nearly there.
we're going to recess a tea light either corner. Alright, so we've got glass surrounds, we do metal ones, need something there just to protect it. So I want to recess that in so it doesn't skid about. Simplest way, you could just go with Forstner bit, but you're going to get the chip in the middle. If that's all you've got, fantastic, it will work. Alright, you could use a combination. What I'm going to do now, for what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to use a template. All I've done to make the template, drill a hole with the Forstner. So the tea light fits in, simple. I can clamp this on. One in either corner, so one down there. I can line this up, get it straight, check what's happening, have a feel. Do the other little clamp on there. That's good. Get the glasses on. Now the cutter we've got, I've already lined this up. We've got a bearing guided cutter, small bearing, small milling type cutter is what we class this as. So I need to come into the middle of our workpiece. I've got the depth set. So we're going to fit that back shelf, it's got to go up in here. So first thing, get a little bit of fluff off the tip of the drill, so we can use snail cutter just by hand, just to take that fluff surface off. It will also help the dowel go in. Alright, I think I've got a screwdriver in the drawer that will take that. Our dowel, got to push into there. How deep's our hole? Bit tricky to measure because it's obviously at an angle. That's that. Come to there. Turn it over. Front edge of this side. So I've got to put right on there. Alright. Okay. That makes sense. Then we cut this off. Small Japanese saw, nice and light. Got to do the same the other side. So, push it in, flip it over. We've got our measurement, we'll say they're the same, we hope. Coming up to that edge. Alright, so we've measured the front of the hole. Coming away there. I tilt it a bit. Hopefully you can see what we're doing there. We're taking from the front because that's where it's shallowest on the drill depth in reality. We're going to come to the front edge of our board, tilt it, so use that depth gauge. We can draw a small pencil line. That's enough for me to see. Just going to slide down to there, then we're going to cut it off. Japanese saw. Hopefully. Let's move the tea light. Let's have something to push on because I know this is going to need a push in to start with. I'll push in. Just checking. Bit long on the pin this end. Too long's good. Too short's a different thing. Too long we can cut back. Nice thing is we know it goes in and out. These will get glued in. Alright, so we'll glue them into the board here, and the aim will be that you can actually take it in and out and screw it flat pack. Right, okay, that's that done for a minute then. Underneath, little pegboards that we can put on. Stop it moving on the bath. When you figure out where the bath's got to go, right, if that makes sense, or where this is going on the bath. We also want to do a wine glass cutout. sorry, it's got to be a wine glass, kind of a pint glass in the bathroom. It'd be like, so where are our things? Now, before I came in, I said to you, we've got a template of the side of the bath profile. I've got a width of where we are. Just going to flip the board over so we've got our tea light holders. Look, I'm going to turn over to the back because I can put this on here. I can look at where that curvature is. Okay, I'm going to bring it in just a little bit. I don't want things tight. Do a line. We can have square. Going to do the same the other side. We can turn our bit over, bring it in just a touch. I can draw a point line just to give me a guide of where things are for that curve. We can come in. This stage I'm going to get a bit more fussy. I'm just going to double check it. That one's not bad. See where we are. Try and make sure they look the same either side. That's there. Gives me my points. Right, so that's quite an important thing to think about where they are. Then we're going to use a bit of the ripping in a minute. We're going to position and we're going to cut this down so we can make the 2 blocks. One there, one the other side. Okay, so we're going to drill the holes. So we've got 2 smaller blocks which are going to go on the underside of our bath tray. The larger block we're going to use as a drilling guide in a minute. So I put a scribe line down the centre. I can check where we are on the pillar drill. We're lining up down the middle of our blank. That's good. These 2 have already set the depth. I can put in. Put these blocks on. So we drilled them so we can downlocate them. We could actually do them so you could move them in reality. So depending on what your bath is, you might want to put, or you can fix them in place totally. By using the dowel, we've got a good location, something we can glue in, or like I say, you can pull them on and off. Laid out positions of how far in I want to be off the back, how far I am on the end. So I've set up my adjustable square so I can get up to there. Up. Get that position. I've got a 10mm inset either side. Alright, quite easy to do. We drilled those on the pillar drill, easier to do. Third one we've done, we can actually position up on here. Get the glasses on, get our blocks. Let's have a quick look, bring that over. Check us where we want to be. We're back to our back line. We want to hold it in place. Just enough room to get that in on either side. Now's the time we can start to double check stuff. I've set the drill up so we know we're going through the block to go down to there, but not all the way through that board. Right, so that mask and tape thing really easy to do. So we can use that as a drilling block. And we know they're same position as what we drill the other room, so we'll locate. Repeat the same down the other end. So they're done. So I've cut the pins to go on the back of the block. Push them in at the moment. They're literally just pushed in. No glue at this stage, you could glue them. We've still got to sand everything on the back, get rid of those pencil lines, but they're pushing. That's quite nice, isn't it? Going in and out. Then from there, where we've got our front side, backboard. Really looking at it, and you've got to think about this, if whoever you're making this for, if they're naturally right or left-handed, take that into consideration. You might want your glass holder one side or the other. All right, so I'm going to go right-handed. Wine glass kind of, cut stem on this one. Trying to figure out where the top is. Want to make sure I'm over off that block so we're not going to catch anything, so I can bring it over. So I'm just really looking at position, so taking something like that can be good so I can work out where my stem is. I'm kind of saying that the base of this glass wouldn't be any bigger than the top. That's given me a position then. Square wise, come down, just going to draw a line back, bring that in. We know that doesn't need to be quite that big. Really, we've got our stem, but that's given a position, then we can figure out where we want to be, how far back. Again, we could use the circumference back to there somewhere. Be quick and simple now. Look. Right, so we've got our line. We're going to want something obviously back in here. Not going to quite make this square, so I'm looking at the diameter of the wine glass stem, and likewise I can narrow that down just a touch. Have a look. Next stage will really be just drill a hole in here and then cut the slot for the stem. Alright. So we've got to cut out the section in between. We're drawing a line. Now the other thing I've checked is we want to do a radius cutter all the way around the board, soften the edge. So we've got the bearing diameter. I also want to get it down through there. So I've made my saw cut we're going to do here. The width I'm taking out, the diameter of that bearing is important. If you do it too small, you're going to have to widen it later. It'd be nice if we could come down, go around, back out. So got to think about if you're going to do that sort of thing. All right, so I've looked at that. I've drawn on the two lines. Got to go back to the vise. So just checking behind me. The other side, so gently pull, I'm going to do router cut all the way around the edge. We've got a round over cut to soften the corners off. You could use a chamfer. It'd be nice to go at it. If you had router table, this might be an easier task at that point. Do on the router table, turn it upside down, feed it through. Freehand, yeah, we can go around. So I've clamped it down the block. I've actually got the bar blocks underneath just to raise it up to make sure the bearing's not going to touch the bench. We can come around it, turn the board round. Okay, so glass is on. Depth is all ready. So we're going to do this probably in a two-pass operation. So I've set the maximum depth. I want to come back just a touch. Give me a clean up task. Support everything. And onto the wheel. So we've routed around the edges. We're going to route the top of the board here. We've got a strip to glue on the front here, and then obviously we start that big clean up bit.
Cool. So I've got my my two top cross struts here. I'm just going to lightly sand these. We don't want to take off too much material so that they don't fit in here. So a little bit of sanding.
Right, okay, so we've got to that aspect. We've cleaned it all up, sanded it, done as much as we can at the moment. I've glued in the blocks underneath, a little bit of glue on those dowels so they are stuck in now just to hold them in place. I've glued the dowels into here. I'm not going to glue it in here, but we can do it at the moment so it pushes in and out. Okay, so put it in, it'll drop in and out. That makes it easier if you want to store it away. Let's just flip this round. Going to make my life difficult, but let's turn it round to there. What we want to do now is get the position a little bearer to stop things slipping forward. Alright, so small stick. So all I've done, cut this on the bandsaw, then just lightly skimmed it with a hand plane. Nothing difficult there, just a nice small batten out the same stock. Okay, we can use that drilling board we did. I'm going to use it as a spacer. I'm going to have to clamp it in place. Just seeing what's going on, see where things are. That gives me something I can come up to as a point, and I know I'm parallel then to my backboard. Another little strip of wood. Why do I want that? And then these two. Want some way of being able to hold it, so I can clamp onto these. That'll put pressure to bring it down. Short of that, I'll go and bind some more clamps that are a bit deeper. So trying to get over those little problems and using things that we've already used. So we want a little bit of glue, something water resistant. We don't need loads. So do a bead. I'm going to turn the silicone brush around. Try and spread that out. If I haven't got loads on here, it's not going to all come oozing out the side in a minute. You'd be shocked on how little we might need. How about that? Let's go back down. Let's scrape it back off almost now. That's good. Hardly anything on there. Up against, get our position. Got to put the glasses on. So I want to check we're equal either end. This overhangs just fractionally. Put it in. That one. That one. Want a couple of those spring clamps. One there. Going to transfer this one to there. Take this one off. So I need 3 for this task. Seems weird, doesn't it? Okay. Check we're in position. That looks good. Just give it a push. There you go. So we can clamp that down, leave it, we can let it dry. Check how it is. Alright, then the next stage after, I'm going to give it an oil.
Okay, so we've pretty much done everything we wanted to do. We've sanded all the bits and bobs. So we've gotten rid of these bandsaw marks. Up in this little arch here as well where the foot is. So last thing to do, we're going to glue this together. So we're going to pop some little spots of glue. You could dowel this, you could put screws through there. I want to keep it all nice and kind of just the flat face. So I'm just going to put a couple of spots of glue on. It's not going to be holding a lot of weight. So 3 pairs of shoes on this one. So we're going to do a spot of glue behind each of these little joints. They're fairly well fitted anyway. So yeah, spot glue will allow that to dry, and then you could oil it, you could paint it. So this is going to be an indoor project, so I'm just using a bit of the Play Type Bond 1. Little spot on each of these where they're going to connect to the main like side panels or uprights. So a little spot of that. Just because we don't want it sort of squelching out the sides really. So just moving that glue around the surface a little bit. Like I said, you could dowel this and screw it together. We're literally going to use a bit of glue. Because they're a decent fit anyway. It's got a, this shape, this kind of A shape. It's quite structurally strong. I'm going to get those surfaces in contact. And there's just a slight overhang on each of these, about 5mm. But you can wiggle it around while the glue is still wet. Make sure everything's in place. Remember, we want a kind of a 5mm overhang on all of these. Just get rid of any splodges of glue. If you're going to oil this, make sure there's no kind of glue left on the surface, you might want to use a little bit of water. This is a water-based glue, so it will clean up with a wet towel. Just removing any excess. But yeah, you can oil that, stain it. I think I'm going to paint this one. But yeah, not much more to do. Maybe a couple of clamps. I think we're good. So just popping a couple of clamps on to hold everything in place while the glue dries. And these type of clamps are really good if you've got, you want to hold one piece with, you can function just on one hand. To hold everything together while you're kind of manipulating other bits. So great things these. Going to let that glue dry, and then we're going to give it a coat of paint or oil or whatever it is we're using, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
So we're about halfway through now. My challenge, or what I've decided to do as the one plank challenge, was turn a bowl of fruit. So I've already turned the apples and pears, and now we're about to turn the bowl. And the process was really cut up to the length that I wanted, glue them all together to give me a thicker section so I'm able to turn the fruit and the bowl, and then cut up to the relevant dimensions. So we've got a bowl here of around about, 8 inches, so around about 200. And this should be enough just to hold. I've got 5 pieces of fruit. So let's get started.
Okay, so for a finish, just going to use some finishing oil, quite easy to do. It will resist the water a little bit. So first coats, we're just going to brush on. That'll bring the colour out. We've got, as you'll see in a second, some painted little pyramids, and underneath here some points. So come down the edge there, look. That's the end grain. Just going to flip it over. There's the little points that are suspending it, look. And there as well. Allow the air get all the way around it. As much as this side isn't going to be glued down, we need to seal it to stop the moisture getting in likewise into those dowels a little bit. Going to do obviously the whole project. It will need 3 or 4 coats, and we'll show you when it's finished. Alright, so we're nearly finished with the oiling. So what we're using, it's almost like a polishing rubber. Same sort of thing you'd use with French polish. So this is cotton cloth. Open it up. Oh, we've got some tissue type paper inside. I wind that up. I've actually used it just to put on a light coat of oil. So this is about the 4th coat of oil. And that sounds quite a lot, but if you look at what I'm doing, I'm literally rubbing on a tiny amount of oil. Gently build it up.
There we go, nice little shoe rack, really easy job. I've given it a couple coats of paint just to stop the muck getting into the wood. Yeah, nice easy one, have a go.
There we are, my choice in the one plank challenge was to glue some pieces together, turn a bowl full of fruit. I've managed to do that. We've got an apple, pear and banana, and I've even got a few more blanks left to do a few more. I hope you've enjoyed that, thank you.
Okay, so we've done our bath rack. Really simple and basic type of thing in reality, okay? There's not that much work in this. We wanted to keep these 3 projects quite simple, but giving you different ideas. You can kind of see, we can take a plank of wood, what can you make with? I've still got enough, probably, I don't know. We'll figure out something. Okay, so we've still got material there that we could use, but quite a nice little item. A few of the guys in here have kind of said, I'd like that for my bath. That'll still be about maybe in 50 years' time. I don't know if they'll have an iPad, but we'll see.
So there we are everybody, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen today. If you like what you've seen, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and share us around. Until next time, bye bye.
Bye.